This wasn't me but my friend roommate. This just happened the other day and she's still pissed about it. Said I could share. Context, she's a pre-law student, aiming to get a degree in business law. Her parents are pretty successful people, live in a nice house in a nice neighborhood etc. Her dad is a straight up helicopter dad, aka abusive and controlling. He controls her bank account and calls her to yell at her whenever she buys pretty much anything. Why did you spend $8 at Starbucks? Why did you get Subway twice this week? Why did you spend $50 at a Target? Additionally, since he pays her rent, she pays her own utilities, which will be important later. He believes he can set all the rules for both of us. I told him straight up he doesn't get to dictate my life in any way and he can just F right off with that. My friend said that I apparently impressed him because he's not used to people standing up to him, but he still doesn't like me. One rule is, no penises are allowed in the apartment ever. He seems to think that if their penis is in the apartment his daughter can't help but F them. Good thing my cats are girls I guess. No standards, nothing. Although he has lightened up a bit after freaking out that my friend has a boyfriend and that he has stayed over before. He also demanded she come home every weekend, a 2-hour drive without traffic, because he doesn't want her to party. Luckily she and her level-headed mother have gotten him to lower it to once a month. As a result she keeps a lot of stuff from him, which makes him more angry and less trusting of her, so he tightens the leash and it just goes around and around. For example, he doesn't know that 2 boys subleased from our previous roommates for the summer. They were in the dorms, but taking summer classes, so they needed a place to stay for the summer. They were my old roommate's brother and his friend. Shocker, there were no orgies. He also doesn't know that her boyfriend has been living with us since May, since he graduated, and is staying with us until he finds work. He just got his CPA. She also didn't tell her dad that she took a part-time job over the summer. Now the last 2 bits are important. C, because her boyfriend has been staying with us, has also been paying utilities. I think he should also pay rent, or at least half of her rent, but whatever. She also wanted to have some fun money to go out over the summer. She was taking summer classes, but had a light workload. She got a job at the liquor store a block from us and worked there all summer and left after the full semester started. So, because her father can see her bank account and head apparently loses crap if he found out his daughter dared to work and try to be a responsible adult, she never told him and never deposited her checks. She cashed them out. Additionally, because her boyfriend is also paying utilities, we've been splitting it 3 ways instead of half, which was showing in her bank account, since she has to pay the full bill because it's in her name. Fast forward to yesterday, my friend ended up depositing some of her cash from her job this summer in order to pay for last month's utilities because her boyfriend forgot to pay her. He PayPals her the money so her dad can't see it, and the check I gave her bounced because at the time I didn't have any money in my account. I had told her to wait until I got paid, but she deposited it the day before I would. The bounced check and the sudden $100 deposit in her account caught the attention of her dad. What resulted was an hour-long screaming match on the phone. She told me later some of the crap he said. He called her a tramp and a liar and demanded that she report me to the police for fraud. Dude, it's just a bounced check. It's all good now. He dug into her because she admitted the $100 came from her job this summer because he was accusing her of selling either drugs or herself. That's where he lost his crap. Apparently, dear old dad was livid that his daughter would dare to work at such a lowly place. His words. Specifically, he was mad that she didn't tell him she had a job, that she should have been focusing on schoolwork, but he was most upset about where she was working. It wasn't so much that it was a liquor store, but that it was retail. Why the F would you work retail? He screamed. Because it's just a block away, and it was easy work, Dad. My roommate screamed back. How dare you? You shouldn't have been working. You needed to focus on school. I didn't have much schoolwork, Dad, so I got a job to have some extra money. How dare you work at such a lowly place? We didn't work this hard to have our daughter work retail. You should be above that. If you wanted a job you should've gotten that office job Mary told you about. She told me later that her dad has a real issue with retail workers. He seems to think that the only people who work at retail or as waiters are failures and high school dropouts. so he doesn't want his daughter to work among low-livers and addicts. I just wanted something easy and within walking distance, dad. I didn't want to drive 2 hours just for a summer job. You shouldn't be working with low-livers and addicts. You should talk to me first. I didn't talk to you because I knew you'd do this. This is why we can't trust you. You've always done crap like this. Then he proceeds to bring up her past F-ups from middle school and high school. He doesn't seem to understand that she's changed quite a bit since then. She then digs into him over his bullcrap. She then hangs up on him, telling him that she won't talk about the past with him, and that she's more than happy to talk about her F-ups when he can talk to her like an adult. So proud of her for saying that. She hasn't talked to him since yesterday. Her level-headed mom called saying she was sorry he yelled at her, and that has just upset because his mother's in failing health. And then he saw the bounce check, so he turned his stress towards her. I took her out to breakfast, my treat since her dad would lost his crap if he saw that she spent money at a diner while she vented about her dad. I finally convinced her to get her own bank account where she can at least put her fun money and the cash she gets from her boyfriend for utilities. Luckily he still doesn't know about him staying with her. We also decided to split the utilities by half so her dad doesn't lose his crap again, and her boyfriend would pay us back the difference for his share. Since she was still hopping mad, we ended up using that energy to clean the apartment and bake bread, since she was too upset to focus on schoolwork. Her dad has approved of her getting some groceries today, so she said she'd buy me some to pay me back. And Monday I'm going to help her set up her own account with the one bank this town has. I feel so bad since this all happened because my check bounced. Am I buy her a cake or something to apologize? So a little backstory, I have a really nice grey Land Cruiser that looks like a monster truck, and it costs a lot of money, not because of the car itself, but mostly the parts inside of it. I live in a pretty good neighborhood, but it happens to be right next to the most busy road in my area. Also I was underage when it comes to drinking, so I have never had alcohol in my life, unless I was at church. So let's meet the cast. Horrifying excuse for a mom. Park. Poor kid not really playing a part in this story. P.O. Police officer Aka my guardian angel. Me, most lucky guy in the world. Alright, let's start. So I get a message from my co-worker saying that there is a problem at work and it better come over. I work at a computer repair shop, so if there's a problem where they have to call me, and it is usually $100 or $1,000 problem that requires most hands on deck. So I get out of my house, get in my Land Cruiser, and drive off in a bit of a rush. A few minutes pass, and I'm about 3 miles away from work. I stop at a red light in this really busy intersection on the most busy effing road in the entire country. There are car crashes here almost every other day. On time it happened twice in one day, so it is no surprise that I got into one at this intersection. So the light turned green, and I was in rush, so I was well in front of the cars beside me. Then just as I'm about to clear the intersection, a big red minivan T-bones me, and we both go sliding in different directions. Me not as much, because my car is much heavier than hers. I almost passed out because of shock, and looked out my window to see who dropped a missile strike to the right of my car. I get out of my car, and it is in pretty bad shape. There is a huge dent right next to the passenger side door, and the glass is broken on the mirror. Luckily nothing else that is visible. Enter M and Park. What were you doing? Trying to drive ahead like that on red light? You could have killed me or my baby in that crash, and we have a very important birthday to go to. Me, I'm sorry, but it was a green light for me, not for you, and I had the right of way. In a quiet accusatory tone. No, you didn't have the right of way, we had the right of way, not you. Me, explain to me how you had the right of way. I don't have to explain to you, you drunk a-hole. Once again, underage, never drank in my life. Are you going to pay for my car, or what? Her car, the red minivan, looks almost like the front of it was blown up then rammed by 100 bulls and a couple wrecking balls. I'm honestly surprised that she and her son survived, because the driver's seat headrest was impaled by a piece of metal. Satan is most likely protecting his hellspawn from any harm, so she can be the biggest Karen this world has ever seen. Me, no, you are going to pay for it along with the damage you did to my car. This was the wrong thing to say. Excuse me, you drunk bastard, you honestly think I'm going to pay for your crap? Why? God, truck that you and your drinking buddy probably pulled out of a trash pile. Me, yes, beach. Again, also wrong thing to say. How dare you treat me like that in front of my kid, you stupid piece of crap. My darling should never be exposed to your potty mouth. Your mother probably left you for dead because you were the most ugly piece of crap in the whole family of 20 kids in the orphanage that you currently live in. Got tired of your bullcrap, so they gave you $100 to got by this piece of crap lump of metal with wheels. Me, angry as hell. That is it, him calling the cops if someone hasn't already done so. Park. Mommy, please stop harassing him, has done nothing wrong. Has done everything wrong. About 10 minutes later of yelling, 3 cop cars and an ambulance arrive. P.O. Excuse me sir, what happened here? Me, well, I was go. It was horrible officer, this man was drunk driving. Once again, I was clearly underage and ran a red light which was clearly visible and almost killed me and my baby. Me, that is not true officer, this woman is clearly lying to you. You can see that I'm sober and there were a ton of witnesses to the accident and what ensued, and they can tell you that she is in the wrong. P.O. Well, I might as well check both of you and the security cameras. There were security cameras in the intersection that recorded everything. Clearly seeing that she was going to get caught. Oh, there's no need of doing that, we will just exchange info and P.O. I'm sorry ma'am, but it is required that I know what happened and which of you is in the wrong, so we will be watching the cam footage together. The police officer found the accident and saw that M was clearly running a red light and she was speeding by at least 20 miles over the limit. The limit was 50. He then checks us both with a breathalyzer and I'm completely sober, but she, SRY couldn't remember the exact number, was the equivalent of, quoting the police officer, having both eyes closed and driving with your feet drunk. They even found a bottle of Jack Daniels in the passenger side backseat half empty. However, the best part is still to come. Turns out she was never going to a birthday party, she was actually leaving the city. Oh, why you ask? Because turns out she had 3 pouches of cocaine, worth maybe $2,000, in her trunk. Does it end there? No. She was packing heat and quite a bit for my state. That's right, police found a loaded handgun and a 6-inch switchblade in the center console. Combine all of that, and you get $5,600 in repairs to my car and a couple thousand more or reprimands, 10.5 years in prison, 3 years on probation, and plenty of parenting classes. Not to mention the several $100 speeding ticket she received before they found the drugs and weapons. Eck was sent to his blood father who actually divorced his mother because of the drugs and her alcoholism. Personally, I wouldn't even call that waste of human potential a mother. She brought her only son on a drug trafficking trip. Sorry that this story is a little long, I wanted to list every detail possible. My car is now fully repaired and me and that PO are good friends now and talk about this incident often. Thank you for reading. Entitled Mother. NK. Nice kid. Me, I don't really say anything. Mom. My mom. An awesome nurse. DC. Doctors. This part is pretty important to the story. So, about 2 years ago, September 15th, 2017, my mom and dad had taken me to the hospital because I was extremely sick. Like I had huge bags under my eyes, I had lost 20 pounds in 5 days, my joints were poking out, and I had no energy. On the way to the hospital, my parents had to make sure I was staying awake in fear of me passing out. I forgot to mention, I was also constantly thirsty and peeing a lot. We get there, and they see I'm in a very bad condition. My parents had to help me walk, so they brought me wheelchair so they could push me to the ER. They looked at me and asked my parents if it's okay to check my blood sugar. My mom gave the okay and the DC checked my blood sugar. They came back and told my mom that I had ketoacidosis, which is a diabetes caused disease. They then told my parents that my blood sugar was 498, that's bad, and that I had type 1 diabetes. This broke my parents' heart and my mom started crying, but they were more heartbroken because I had to check my blood and give myself shots. Enter the This one was the best woman I have ever met. She was making sure I was comfortable, while other nurses set up a room for me in the ICU, talking to me, asking how school was going, etc. So, M was on the other side of the room, which was separated by a curtain. She had come in before me. A lot of doctors were making sure how bad my condition was, checking if the room was almost done, ECT. Then the M makes a mistake. M, excuse me, you need to tend to my son. We were here first. DC, we are aware of that, ma'am, but this patient is going in and out of consciousness. M, I don't care. My son is more important. DC, ma'am, this child is on a life or death situation and your child only has a hurt ankle. This stupid cow said this. M, I don't care if that child is dying. Tend to my son. Now, and, ma'am, I'm going to say this once and only once. Shut the F up. This child is on the verge of dying. Her parents are in absolute despair and you have the nerve to say your child needs to be helped first because of a hurt ankle? M, how dare why? And if you bother us one more time, I can and will call the police on you for harassment against a patient and the hospital staff. The M finally shut her trap and left us alone. Bless that nurse, man. I got put into ICU, got taken out after 1.5 days, got put into the children's section. I was 11 and was there for 6 days until I finally went back home. It's been a good 2 years since I was diagnosed, and I'm lucky that I didn't die from ketoacidosis and dying from not having enough insulin. Some diabetics die from rationing out their insulin because they can't afford it. That's the end of this story. Thank you for watching. Slap that like button and comment your opinion on these stories below. I'm waiting. Write that comment. Seriously. Have you written it yet? If you don't comment, you make a bunny cry somewhere. You're not that kind of person. I know. Anyways, peace out and catch you tomorrow.